It's time to escape the cage.
I was walking down the beach, looking for some action, had my radio set on a rap pop station. Saw a girl in trouble, a sticky situation. She wanted me to give her mouth to mouth and just
Hey guys, it's Escape the Cage. I'm your host, Rotten Ronnie, here with the MADD Matt. Today is episode 5 of Escape the Cage podcast. You can find us on SoundCloud and on YouTube. We're going to give out the links a little bit later. Today we got some interesting topics to talk about. We got the big Shane McMahon return. We're going to talk about WWE maybe showing a little bit too much behind the curtain. Matt's got some topics for us to discuss as well. We're going to do maybe like a top 10, Stump the Matt. Yeah, we got some things planned for the show today. I guess one of the first things I want to get into is, you can reach us on email, escapethecagepodcast@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter at escapethecage31. And you can also find us on YouTube, Escape the Cage Podcast. Escape the Cage being one word.
And I think we just hit 60 followers as well. Didn't we piss off a certain wrestling host to tell him to give him a call when we hit 60 followers? We did.
We actually we went ahead and pissed off a certain podcast wrestler by the name of TAZ. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or not.
Yes, he's one of those wrestlers. He was real good in ECW, and then once he got to the big leagues, he just couldn't hang.
2 years and out.
Just 2 years and out. All of a sudden, he was a commentator.
All of a sudden, he's talking.
And I feel like I do a better job of commentating than he does.
You do.
Absolutely.
The MADD should be on He should be on WrestleMania, man.
They should allow me to do just a WrestleMania podcast that should be broadcasted on the WWE Network.
Or maybe we'll do that and put it on our channel.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So let's talk about. So I guess what ended up pissing off Taz is on Twitter we interact with some of the wrestlers. We'll ask questions. We'll talk. Sometimes we get positive interactions. Sometimes we get a little bit more negative ones.
Because we get really butthurt.
Yeah, especially some of the WWE wrestlers, they get super butthurt on Twitter.
And what's funny too is because they play these characters, and
these badasses,
and then they get so angry.
Yeah, and especially like over Twitter with fans, it's like you think like that they wouldn't have the time to be able to be hitting people up on Twitter.
It's like what are you doing all day? You're like this famous guy, and you're just gonna sit here and argue with us all day?
Yeah, seriously.
What's going on, buddy?
Anyway, what we ended up doing is I ended up pissing off Taz, and the way that happened was I guess on Taz's podcast, Matt actually listens to Taz's podcast sometimes. I'm not a fan, so I don't really listen to him.
Yeah, and I actually do like Taz's podcast, but we're definitely going to elaborate on this here.
So what ended up happening is I'm assuming, and Matt can clarify this, that Taz stated on his podcast that WrestleMania was sold out.
He did. That was on I believe it was the Tuesday podcast of his show or live show, whatever the hell he calls it now.
Okay, so Taz had stated that WrestleMania was sold out. And the plain and simple fact is that it's nowhere near close to being sold out.
It's really funny to me that, he thinks he has all this in-depth knowledge, but if it was sold out, why are they still trying to sell tickets on Raw? There's commercials all day.
You would think.
I could go online right now and buy a ticket.
You would think. But anyway, so that's not what started the problem. What ended up starting the problem is, as I was on Twitter, I saw that another Twitter user, I don't have his handle right now, had actually just replied to Taz on Twitter and said, "Hey Taz," not in a mean way, not in a disgusting way, not in an asshole way. It was just like, "Hey Taz, WrestleMania is not sold out yet, just so you know." And then right away, Taz fired back on the guy with like, "It's little punks like you that only say shit on Twitter that really piss me off." And I saw that as kind of like, dude, you're a wrestler, you're a podcaster, you're an entertainer, and you're going to get mad when someone didn't even insult you. They were just trying to correct some information, or some bullshit, rather, that you're spreading out on your show.
Well, what I think the reason why he's really mad is he goes to the theme park, he tries to go on a roller coaster, and he's just not tall enough. So he takes that on everybody else.
So what we ended up doing is I hit him up and I said, "Hey man," I hit up the other guy that had replied to Taz, and I was like, "Hey man, don't take it personally." I was like, "Some of these WWE guys get super butthurt, so just take it for what it is and move on."
Booty.
So what ended up happening is Taz wrote back to us, to Escape the Cage podcast, and said that it's fucktards like, or actually let me read it for you. Because I actually have it saved.
A fucktard? When did I become a fucktard? I don't want to be a fucktard.
I mean, he's a walking turd. So As
Still taller than you, Taz. I'm still taller than you.
As he's a walking turd, we're a fucktard, you know. So let me get to that.
By the way, Taz, Becky Lynch does better suplex than you. Ooh.
She definitely does. So let me see here.
You have too many Twitter posts to find it. My goodness gracious.
Here we go. He's all, yes, this is what Taz said to me. I had said, it's okay, brother. Some of the wrestlers get super butthurt on Twitter because it fucks with their ego, which is 100% true. These guys create these images in their head, and sometimes they take them a little bit too far. Taz's reply to that was, when you get to 60 followers, let me know. Until then, fuck off. Well, one of the things we're officially letting you know that we're at 65 followers today, and we actually pick up about 5 followers a day.
And we're actually going to call into the Taz show just to let them know.
We are. If we can get past our call screeners, we're going to get in there and just let them know. You know, just say, hey, dude, just wanted to let you know what's going on.
Yeah, and if anyone else wants to call into the Taz show and let them know that we have over 60 followers, feel free. We know we've got a pretty big, large fan base, so.
We'll even give you something for free if you do it. How about that?
If you call into the Taz show, we will give you a free DVD.
Yep. Sounds good. We'll give you a free DVD as long as you mention Escape the Cage podcast. So as far as that goes, I mean, he's a walking turd in my opinion. I could really care less as far as Taz goes.
Well, let's talk about Taz for a second. I mean, in no disrespect to Taz, I respect what he did in the ring, but let's be honest. He's probably a little bit angry. You know, he grew up in ECW. You know, was the champion there, big guy. Came to WWE with this huge angle with Kurt Angle, supposed to be in a big angle with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Never happened. Had Steve Austin basically humiliate the guy on live TV, like real
like embarrassingly.
bad. Like embarrassingly. And he's supposed to be like this crazy dude out of the Red Hook section in Brooklyn, New York. And then he gets put on the commentator table and doesn't even get to wrestle. I mean, mind you, yes, he does have a neck injury, but...
And I'll be honest, he wasn't bad on commentary.
He wasn't bad.
I can actually say nice things
Jim
about
Ross, him. You know, Jim Ross or Jerry Lawler, but, he did all right. I mean, almost JBL status.
Speaking of JBL, that's actually somebody else that we upset on Twitter, Matt.
Oh, my God. How many wrestlers are going to block us? Well, Taz blocked us. What happened with JBL?
Well, so JBL went and he posted a picture of him climbing on a mountain, which was cool, and we supported that. And then there was a conversation that I witnessed on Twitter between JBL and Zeb Coulter. We're talking about Kanye West and Taylor Swift.
Kanye West and Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Wow.
So I just asked when the knitting discussion was going on. I just wanted to know when the conversation about knitting was going to happen. And so he got all butthurt and wrote back and said, well, now you're blocked, and then blocked us. So apparently, these guys get really butthurt.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about knitting, they will block you.
Yep. Don't ask them about knitting because they do it. They knit. JBL just must not be that good. He's probably not a good knitter.
Yeah, well, you know what I think. What I think it is too. Again, I think JBL's career got ended by Rey Mysterio. Another short guy, so.
Oh, shit, son.
JBL. I'm not going to lie, this whole time I've been trying to think of three words that rhyme with JBL, so I could make something funny of his name, but I couldn't think of something. I have just a big, and then I need a word with an L, so. If
loser.
Just a big loser.
Just a big loser.
High fucking five.
We got it.
Just a big loser. And does that mean Taz is a little loser?
Taz is a walking turd loser, yes, yeah.
And we are proud fucktards.
And we're proud fucktards.
Was there another wrestler that you were referee?
Charles Robinson.
Charles Little Nate.
And the way this happened was...
we felt kind of bad.
This was my fault. He posted a picture of him with Lex Luger. I said, holy shit.
Package.
I said, holy shit, Lex looks old.
And he is old.
He wrote back, told me not to be a jerk, and I dropped the gimmick, and I told him that, hey, sorry, I'm just playing a character, I'm just being an asshole. We're just being real with you guys. We're just trying to have fun on this.
You know what's kind of funny, Ronnie?
What's that?
Is how wrestlers play characters, but when someone plays a character to them, they can't differentiate between, a character and real life.
Yeah, they just can't see him. I think it's just because they get built up in these egos and things.
Well, Well, so that's our Twitter for that, and that's in 1 week, by the way, guys. That's in
That was just this last week. So
last week.
we're making moves.
Yep.
We're getting attention. Start following us. Start subscribing to us. Send us your emails. escapethecagepodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter at escapethecage31. We'll interact with you personally. We'll talk to you.
Where can they find
we'll
us on
hit you
YouTube?
Up. On YouTube, you can just hit us up at Escape the Cage Podcast on Twitter. Make sure I'm sorry, on YouTube. Make sure Escape the Cage is one word together and then podcast.
Perfect. That's pretty simple to me.
All right, cool, man. So what do we got today? So let's get into Shane.
Here comes the money.
Here comes the money.
So I was watching Raw, and so let's just we're gonna have a little discussion about this. Before we get into the whole Shane McMahon, let's talk about the background of how he came back in. So
Okay.
for the past week, they've been building up the Vincent K. McMahon reward, honor of Vince's dad.
Yep.
You know, so I personally, and they fooled me, which rarely happens. I thought this was gonna be like a real award.
You thought it was a shoot. You thought they were going to
I
give
thought
a
it
real.
was a shoot. Yeah, I thought it was going to be like, okay, legacy of excellence. Okay, so naturally, first name that comes to mind is Bret Hart. Excellence, like
Especially with the cancer situation.
The whole cancer thing that he just beat. He's going to make a full recovery.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yes, thank you, Bret Hart. Best recovery. Wish you the best. Speedy recovery. My personal opinion, greatest wrestler of all time. Thank you for everything.
Sharpshoot that cancer, brother.
Sharpshoot it. Or I was thinking The Undertaker. If you really want to talk about a legacy of excellence, above all else, above everyone, above Shawn Michaels, above Bret Hart, above I'm going to say it, above Hulk Hogan. Undertaker was in WCW for a very, very brief period, maybe about 6 months.
Mean Mark.
Yeah, when he played what was his character?
Mean Mark.
Mean Mark Calloway. He's part of the Skyscrapers, actually.
Yep.
I actually just watched him wrestle at, I think it was Beach Blast 90. You should check it out. It was actually a very funny match. He did this actual move from the top rope, not the one with the arm, but he did something where he didn't do an elbow drop or something. It was weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But aside from that, I was thinking, okay, The Undertaker's been around since 1990, since the Survivor Series. It is now 2016. He has never left WWE. He is 32-1 at WrestleMania. You know, so I'm thinking legacy of excellence.
I think he's 22-1.
22-1. That's what I said.
You said 32.
Oh, did I say 32?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's because it's WrestleMania 32.
We're excited for it.
So what I'm thinking, well, not that excited. I mean, we'll talk about the card later. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So I'm thinking, okay, Undertaker he's been around for so long. This would be a great way to bring him in, give him a nice award, and then set up an angle for his possible WrestleMania appointment, whoever that may be this year. Maybe you're returning Cena, maybe you're returning Seth Rollins, you know, something like that. You know, I obviously Kevin
just
Owens,
to set up
Bray
an
Wyatt.
angle.
Yeah, set up an angle. So then, you know, Vince comes out, does his little spiel, Stephanie music, you know, hits.
When Vince came out, I kind of had an idea. I could kind of just tell by the look on his face, the fact that it was an opening segment. I had no idea it was going to be Shane, but I had an idea at that point that it was going to be a work.
Yeah, definitely. I knew it was a work as soon as Stephanie's music hit.
Yeah.
So she comes out, she starts talking about her. So by the way, Stephanie, all in all, honestly, is great. She plays a great character. She's very, very good at what she does. She really gets people to hate it. Like, and that's the difference separating, you know, from in real life. Stephanie does all kinds of good things for charities, and all that. She's a great character. She is great. So she comes out, starts doing her thing, and then all of a sudden, it hits.
Here comes the money.
That place, Ronnie, went nuts.
Yeah, that was a pop.
Like, that Shane O'Mac chant was so loud, and the fact that he didn't side with them was amazing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Ronnie, on kind of how it was done, how he was brought back, how the segment was done, and then all in all, him fighting Undertaker? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, here you go. Well, first, they needed something. They needed something to come back and kind of create some excitement because as of right now, with the current WrestleMania situation, WWE's plagued with injuries as far as like their top guys. They don't really have really good angles set up going into WrestleMania. Everything's kind of starting off a little bit fresh, which is good because it gives kind of a fresh feel to WrestleMania. But the fact that they're trying to make this the biggest WrestleMania of all, as of right now, it's not feeling that way. So they needed to do something. And I know the week before this, there was rumors saying that it was going to be somebody off the roster, that it wasn't going to be somebody within WWE, which is kind of funny because then the first name people started talking about was Sting, even though Sting's on the roster and he's got like basically a broken neck and has to have, I think he has spinal stenosis and has to have surgery or just had surgery, one or the other.
Yeah, best of wishes to Sting as well, another one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Completely. So first people started talking about Sting. I'll be honest, one of the things that was popping up in my head was possibly Kurt Angle. I know Kurt Angle just wrapped up with TNA. I know they tape a little bit before, so he's already done with TNA. They're just airing his matches. So I honestly kind of thought maybe that we were going to hear that, the Olympic gold medalist, maybe something. So bringing Shane back, I think, brings a certain amount of interest, a lot of interest into the product and into the current WrestleMania situation.
I know the ratings were up by about 500,000 to a million from the previous week. So
that's a heavy spike just for one person to just show up and just say their name, say, hey, what's up? I'm here to fight. Da 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 da. Two of the things that I thought that they maybe should have done is maybe they should have waited a week to announce the match. Maybe they should have given like a week's worth of build-up to kind of set that match instead of it seemed as if Vince McMahon just kind of had The Undertaker in his pocket. And I don't like the idea, personally, of the Vince McMahon just being able to pull The Undertaker out like a lapdog. Like, oh, I'm going to stick my dog on you.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, I think, to see how The Undertaker reacts on this when he talks on Monday. I totally agree with you. I don't know. It's just weird to think, okay, Undertaker comes out. Sure, Vince, I'll go beat up your son to make sure he doesn't get... This just doesn't sound like The Undertaker.
Especially since Vince McMahon hasn't been an on-screen character, a prominent on-screen character in years. And to the point to where a lot of modern wrestling fans, they don't see what's the connection between Vince and The Undertaker. They may be too young to understand the corporate ministry or when that was all going on. The other thing as far as Shane McMahon coming back is that WWE had one of the greatest spikes in interest since before the Royal Rumble or AJ Styles showing up as far as interest in their product with Shane McMahon coming back. Everyone was like, where's this going to go? Is this a fresh idea? What are they going to do? So then what does WWE do at the height of the promotion, at the height of the excitement? They release an official press statement stating that Shane is just an on-air character and that there is no real family drama going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, I don't like that, man. I mean, it sucks. It really does suck how bad, kayfabe is dead. Because, I mean, to be completely honest and realistic, I mean, it would be a great idea for Shane to run Raw, like in real life.
Totally, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, even as an on-screen character as well as a, behind the scenes. One thing I wanted to get your opinion on, Ronnie. Now, I know they have it all set up currently, Shane versus The Undertaker. Do you feel that this was either A, the right person to work with, or B, also the right way to use the angle? Or do you think that maybe they each should have picked someone to represent themselves, or maybe somehow done some of the storyline with maybe like Shane and Triple H, because that would make more sense.
Yeah, for like a power struggle kind of a situation. Like a power struggle.
I mean, Shane, by the way, Shane looks great. I saw him working out. He's jacked.
Yep.
And he's a daredevil.
Don't let the gray hair fool you.
You know what I mean? But here's the thing. Here's what Shane, I always thought, was known for. His high flying, his daredevil moves.
Hardcore wrestling.
He
was like one of the boys. He was willing to get in there. Whereas Vince wants to be feared, Shane was one of the boys.
So here's my thought process. Shane is 40, I think 46 years old, something like that.
Pushing
He's old,
50.
Still pushing 50. Great shape, though. He's going to be in a Hell in a Cell match. This is his first match back, and he hasn't wrestled in years. It's his very first match back, and then you're going to put him in a match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Now, my thought process is, why have him work with The Undertaker? One, he's going to have a little bit of ring rust. Two, it's not like a crazy hardcore match where he could have done that daredevil stuff that, he's known for.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a bunch of, his dancing around, hitting him, with kendo sticks, stuff like that.
Unless they have like toys under the ring and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, unless they do something crazy where they can get out of the cage and then Shane jumps off the cage or something. But I don't think he would risk that at this, point of his life. I think, because actually when he was wrestling, he was in his early 20s.
Yeah.
And
he didn't care about falling off a scaffold or fucking throwing his body off of a...
Hey, fun fact about Shane McMahon. He is the one wrestler you've never ever seen with his shirt off. The guy has always worn a shirt. There's no pictures online, nothing.
Oh, wow.
Shane always wrestles with a T-shirt.
Oh, wow. I guess maybe we'll see that at WrestleMania.
It's a fun fact.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could have. I think maybe we still might have something like that happen in the build up to WrestleMania. I was actually thinking that maybe possibly you could have like Shane is attacked or like injured or something along those lines, and then Shane has to find someone to kind of be his representative to fight The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Again, I don't know if that's the direction they're going to go in. I think it'd be very interesting. Just because of the fact I see how the initial hype as far as Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker is going to bring a draw. But when WWE starts telling people that Shane is an on-screen character and they start basically ruining their own hype, then maybe they should bring in somebody else or bring in someone that could maybe work with The Undertaker and put on like a solid match.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, it didn't have to be someone on the active roster. Like you said, Kurt Angle would have been a great match. But I mean, it could have been someone on the active roster. You know, I mean, this is supposedly. I mean, I don't know 100%. Obviously, I can't foresee the future. It's supposed to be Undertaker's, maybe last match.
Possibly, yeah.
Ever. And just the way the storyline's going. I mean, yeah, I understand. You come in on your back, you go out on your back. But this is the Undertaker at WrestleMania. He's 22-1. He has only lost one time, and that was to Brock Lesnar. And all of a sudden, you're going to have Shane McMahon, someone who hasn't really wrestled. And let's be honest, Shane McMahon had great matches with Kane and Big Show. He did. But you can't have him come back and just beat The Undertaker on his last match. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Is Shane really going to be the last person The Undertaker wrestles kind of a thing?
Exactly,
And that to me comes along the lines of WWE and their promotion. I think, honestly, WWE has the ability to be smart enough to where they could promote this as a must-see match.
Maybe if The Undertaker loses, his career's over? Something like that? I
could see maybe like a Undertaker gone, Shane gone, career versus career kind of a thing. One of the things is that comes back to them developing characters and making you believe in the character. Like with The Undertaker, even in this newer time period, still somewhat holds up to the kayfabe a little bit. Like,
absolutely.
The reason why people like The Undertaker is because they know that they believe in the character of The Undertaker.
Here's one thing, too, about The Undertaker. He's not really on social media like that.
No.
You very rarely will find... Every now and then you might find a picture of him in the gym.
Yeah.
But
and it's usually someone like a fan took. Like, he's not posting his own pictures and shit.
He's not out there. He's not like that. He's not being this, crazy, mean person... on screen and then being this, super nice person behind the scenes, and then posting all this, stuff.
Yeah, it'd jump a topic a little bit, but that's one of the things I wanted to talk about is that as far as, you take the Shane and Undertaker, WWE has the ability to make that a must-see match, but if WWE is going to be releasing press statements of, on one end, they're releasing videos of Shane McMahon working out that we're supposed to take seriously, and on the other end, they're putting up press statements that Shane's just an on-screen characters and there's no real drama. Now, I'm not an idiot. As much as I look like an idiot, as much as I may sound like an idiot, I'm not an idiot. I know that wrestling is scripted. I know these are characters. I know Dean Ambrose's name is not really Dean Ambrose. I know Roman Reigns' name isn't really Roman Reigns. I know that this is how this thing is set up. But in the older aspect of wrestling, you want to believe in a character. You want to solidly be able to invest in that character. And I think one of the main problems with WWE and why they're having trouble with this hype is that they're blending the lines too much between character and real life.
Well, kind of what happens is I heard this on one of the podcasts. I'm not going to mention which one, but what the person said on the podcast is that the WWE doesn't play to fans like us, because there's two types of fans. There's your casual wrestling fan, and then there's your smart mark. Your smart wrestling fans. Obviously people that are going to listen to the podcast, people that are usually going to the pay-per-views, the WrestleManias. The WWE feels to do all these random things to attract more casual fans. But what they don't understand, if they did stuff that's going to attract more wrestling fans, those are going to be the ones that are going to, dude, you need to check out wrestling now. It is sick. They're doing this, this, and this. Yeah. That's how you can appeal to the casual fan.
And that's actually a really good point that you brought up. And so let's say WWE is doing anything for casual fans. Do you think it's a good idea to be constantly showing the casual fans behind the curtain?
No. Absolutely not.
Even if they're aware that this is a television show, and even though that they're aware that these are characters, does that mean that they should still show so much behind the curtain?
No, definitely not. Because think about it. Let's say I'm a casual fan. I don't really know how casual fans work. So I'm such a hardcore fan, but I'm gonna go ahead and take a wild guess that I'm a casual fan. Okay, it's Monday. What's on TV? Wrestling. I'll throw it on. So, look, couple matches here. All right, I'm done. So they're not even gonna pay attention to the whole show. That's why the viewers always decrease. But let's say if I'm a casual wrestling fan, I probably know someone that likes wrestling.
Yeah.
I probably talk to somebody, or even if someone watches wrestling, they talk about it every now and then. Now, I'm a hardcore wrestling fan, and I know all these people that used to love wrestling. They go, wrestling's gay now. Like, I'll give you an example. My roommate Danny. been talking trash about wrestling for years. Ever since he stopped watching the Attitude Era. But now that I live with him, we watch Raw every week and SmackDown. He actually likes some of it now.
Okay.
He likes, he doesn't like the people that I like. He likes what the casual people like. He likes Roman Reigns. He actually likes John Cena.
So he would be like more like a Mark.
Yeah,
like a general Mark.
General Mark, he likes, kind of who they're told to like, the good guys, stuff like that. He does, he completely hates like Kevin Owens and Jerry, you know what I mean? Like people that we love.
Yeah.
But it's because they're doing their job, you know what I mean?
We see it from a different set of eyes because we've been watching it for so long and we understand it from a different perspective.
Like it's even to the point now, like if he didn't watch it, he'll come up to me and be like, hey, anything good happen on Raw?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And it's just weird for a person that's totally not a fan to, do that. It's just, here's the thing, you got to get the wrestling fans happy so they can spread the word. Yeah,
because the wrestling fans are the ones that are, like you just said, he's coming to you asking you what's going on. If you're not interested, you're just going to tell him that nothing happened on Raw.
Yeah. Instead, I was like, Brock Lesnar showed up, all this crazy stuff happened with Ambrose, and it's like, oh, dude, put it on. I want to see what happened.
And here's a good example, Brock Lesnar. We like Brock Lesnar. You look at Brock Lesnar because you believe and you know that Brock Lesnar is a badass.
Absolutely.
Now, if they were constantly showing pictures of Brock Lesnar backstage playing video games and wearing dresses, would you still think that? Would you believe in the character as much?
Absolutely not. But see, again, Brock Lesnar is another example. He's not on social media like that. Brock Lesnar's a badass. He was the NCAA champion, UFC champion. Yes, that's right, UFC guys. Quote unquote fake wrestler won your heavyweight title.
Yeah, like really quick too.
Yeah, real quick, like second match or something.
Yeah, he got beat, but everyone gets beat. It's the win.
After the crazy disease that he came back from.
The diverticulitis.
Yeah, I don't even know what you just said, but yes, it sounds terrible.
It's like shit leaking in your stomach.
Yeah, you can't fight with poop in your stomach.
Right.
You just gotta get out of your ass. But same thing. Kind of elaborating on that. I know we were talking about this earlier. Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose are trying to build this up and trying to be crazy,
the lunatic fringe,
not afraid of anything, which is great. They should have him not be afraid of everything. But
stealing ambulances.
Dean Ambrose was dope when he was in Shield. Just the way he cut his promos, the way he would carry himself, the little body language he would do.
Very menacing.
Yeah, like that let him be who he was. Kind of like when he was John Moxley and all that. Let him be himself. Just stand up a little bit. Speaking of which, I know we're talking about this earlier. Don't want to get too much off topic, but talking about wrestlers that get over that are just being themselves.
Yeah.
2 examples. First, I'm going to get into the big one here in a second. First example is Bayley. Okay, she is a girl from the street, not from the streets, but, just from a nice area, very nice, casual girl I can go up to and give a hug to probably, and she wouldn't even get mad.
Yeah.
Super nice, connects with the fans, and they love her for that because they're one of them. Daniel Bryan, one of us. You know what I mean? He was the guy who,
you can relate to him.
You can relate to him. He came from nothing. He worked his ass off. Boom. Now everybody loved him.
And you can tell when they're talking that they're not remembering a script because they're not flubbing their words. They're not marble-mouthed. They're not monotone.
Stone Cold. Same example.
Perfect example.
We relate to him. Everybody hates their boss. I hate my job. Let's go rebel against the boss. Just be a badass and flick everybody off. Same thing with The Rock.
And yeah,
let's just go out there and be funny and cut hilarious promos.
Yeah, and with Austin especially, Austin was pushed as the heel or presented as the heel against a babyface Bret Hart. And at the time, the fans got tired of Bret Hart. They wanted to switch over to a more ruthless character, so they picked up on the Stone Cold character. Same thing, like example, if they were showing pictures of Stone Cold Steve Austin goofing around with Shawn Michaels backstage or wearing funny hats and being a goofball, nobody would ever believe that he was this hard, badass motherfucker that's going to get in there and wreck the place.
Here's what I really think is the true problem. Here's the true problem. Okay, heels and faces died in about 1996, 1997, right?
Yeah, they started blurring the lines.
Blurring lines, right? That's where the society is at now, though. There is no good guys and bad guys anymore, if you think about it.
True.
So if they just went in there with the mentality, just go out there and be yourself, that's what's going to get people over. Roman Reigns is trying to be a cartoon character. He's not going to get over like that. Bray Wyatt is a great example of someone who's over, who's just, even though they're screwing everything up with him, he's just, going in there as a quote-unquote heel, but he gets cheered just because he's awesome.
Yeah, he delivers amazing promos. His matches are average, maybe a little bit higher than average. I'd say average as far as his wrestling. For a bigger guy, I mean, he gets in there and moves. I don't expect him to be a technical wrestler.
Bray Wyatt, and we haven't really seen much of it because they don't really allow him to do many single matches anymore. But Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan had an amazing match at the Royal Rumble at 2014.
That's right, yeah. That's actually, we're going to introduce a segment possibly this week It's just going to be called just dead in the water. It's a term we're going to take on, and it's going to be for wrestlers who are just dead in the water, who don't really have anything going on. Bray Wyatt is a perfect example of that right now. I mean, he has the potential. He can deliver the promos. He can get in there and wrestle. He's got the Wyatt family. He's got his little cult with him, and yet he's just lost in the shuffle.
Dude, honestly, the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt should be having the title, but the Wyatt family should basically be the NWO, holding on to the title and
protecting Bray with the belt, basically.
Yep.
I mean, when are we going to get our job as writers?
I don't know. Why don't we? I know Bray Wyatt's wrestling Triple H in Toronto. Why not have Triple H drop the belt to Bray, have Bray go to WrestleMania, fight Roman, get over? Yeah, don't let Roman win, and then have Triple H fight Shane. God, I'm a genius.
There you go. Do you think there's anything they can do with Roman Reigns? Because
Yes.
Stone Cold Steve Austin had mentioned on his podcast about turning him heel.
Exactly what I was about to say.
How did Austin give a? I didn't listen to it. Did he give a scenario of how to turn Roman Reigns
So
heel?
he didn't, but he was talking with Wade Keller, and Wade Keller did. Wade Keller said, have Ambrose win, go to WrestleMania, fight Brock Lesnar, because fans are behind Ambrose enough to cheer for him. Fight Triple H, excuse me. Don't know where Brock Lesnar would go, and then have Roman Reigns be very, very angry about it. Well, I hate all of you. You guys all turned on me. Screw Ambrose. Screw everyone. If I can't win the title, I'm going to go beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then if you think about it, I mean, Undertaker most likely would, quote unquote, probably would win, or maybe not, just because they're really trying to get Roman over. But then let's say, take this scenario. Let's say Roman does win. Boom, he comes out every week, talks all this shit. I beat The Undertaker. All you guys didn't believe in me.
What if they had Roman sell out to Vince to beat The Undertaker?
Beautiful idea.
And have him like align with like an authority type figure.
Beautiful idea.
You know, if they were going to set up the match between Roman and The Undertaker, that's if they had something like that going on.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We should do next week. We talked about this last week. This week we're gonna we'll set up like a little mock WrestleMania, and we'll kind of give like an alternative WrestleMania card with the current wrestlers and where they could have gone after the Royal Rumble and what we could have done. Because one of the matches that I definitely want to see is AJ versus Kevin Owens, but I don't want to see them team up AJ and Y2J.
Well, they are gonna fight at the Toronto Madison Square Garden show, and hopefully
that'll open the door.
Leads up to the match at WrestleMania.
Cool. So let's see. So we got, by the way, you can reach us on Escape the Cage podcast at gmail.com. And you can hit us up on Twitter at Escape the Cage 31. We're going to get into a little bit of a segment here. We're going to play Stump the Mat because we're not going to sit here and talk your ear off as far as Shane McMahon and everything.
Bring it on.
So I'm going to do a little bit of a Stump the Mat thing. And just so you know, when we do this, Matt doesn't have his phone with him. We take it away. Matt doesn't know the questions beforehand. He doesn't know the subject matter beforehand. This is all 100% on the up and up. We know you guys can't see it. But, yeah, we actually physically took his phone from him.
He took my phone and put it in a lockbox with a key.
So since the Royal Rumble just happened and since we're getting into WrestleMania, I'm going to do some Royal Rumble winners. Do you think you're up for that?
I'll give it a shot.
All right. So let's see. Who won? This is Stump the Mat, by the way. Who won the Royal Rumble in 2003?
2003. Brock Lesnar.
Ding, 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 ding. Correct. All right. You ready for another one?
I'm ready.
All right. Next question. Who won the Royal Rumble in 1995?
Shawn Michaels.
And then we'll give you a bonus question. When did he win it again?
96.
Congratulations, Matt. You got that one, too.
That's what I do.
You're not winning anything. We're just quizzing you.
Damn it, I want a free DVD.
You want the free DVD?
Hey, you know there's a guitar pick on the ground.
You can pick it up if you want. You can even have it.
Can I have this guitar pick?
All right. What
It says
year?
Ernie Ball.
What year did the guitar pick win WrestleMania?
Well, you know, I actually haven't gone to WrestleMania yet with the guitar pick, so it actually has not yet happened. Thank you.
You want one more? You want a couple more?
Yeah, give me two more.
Two more? All right. Who won the Royal Rumble in 1991.
Brother! You already know it's Hulk Hogan.
All right, you want one more?
Last one, let's do it.
Last one. See, these are, when I think about it, it sounds like I could get you, but then when I'm going over it, it's like, let's see, because I want to give you one. When was wrestling? Let's see, who won the Royal Rumble in 2006?
Shit, that's gonna be a tough one. Was it Rey Mysterio?
You got it.
That one for Eddie Guerrero, by the way. He entered, I believe it was...
Wasn't that the record?
It was the record. He entered at number 3. I think he was in there for about an hour and 3 minutes. And I believe he eliminated came down to the last 3. I believe it was Triple H and Randy Orton. And I believe he eliminated Randy Orton on that.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So there you go. So what do you got for us, Matt? You got any segments? What do you got?
Yeah, I was actually reading up on, I want to talk about, and I like where they're going with this, how WWE is supposed to be almost TV 14 and be a lot more edgy leading up until WrestleMania. And
good topic.
And we saw a good example of that on Monday Night Raw at the end.
What'd you think about that? That's a really good topic. That's a really good subject. What'd you think of the Roman Reigns beatdown?
It was great. But again, though, I love how they're getting more edgy, but I thought it was just it's so great that, I mean, just even during the match they're cheering for Sheamus. They obviously hate Roman Reigns.
Yeah, they were cheering for Sheamus more than Roman.
And then when Triple H beat the crap out of him, oh man,
yeah, that crowd popped hard.
And his face was bloodied up. Now everybody's trying to sit here and say that could have been a blood capsule, that Brian Saxton handled a blood capsule. Let's be honest. One, he wouldn't know how to use a blood capsule. 2, WWE has never used a blood capsule. That was blood.
Yeah, that's one thing I do want to get straight, because I've been seeing that on the IWC, the Internet Wrestling community, is some of these lesser knowledgeable fans are saying that there was possibly a blood capsule. WWE doesn't use blood capsules. If they're bleeding, they're cutting themselves, or it's an accident.
Yeah, and it was definitely an accident because, I mean, it was from his nose.
And the blood didn't wipe off.
Yeah, I know that. And then I thought it was awesome. Triple H played it great because right after he busted his nose up, he came in and just started hitting him in the face. Just boom, boom, boom.
Just slamming him. And then he gave him I like how he did the Roman Reigns fist pump and then the suck it.
Yeah, great way to get Roman Reigns over.
Right. Great way to get Roman Reigns over.
Honestly, though, man, that pedigree, though, on those steps, that was dope.
That was pretty solid.
That was great.
Did you see the after surgery pictures?
I did.
What do you think?
It was hilarious.
You can even see the discoloration and the black, like in the corner of his eyes and everything, and that's what happens when you break your nose.
I thought it was so funny how Triple H came out. You know what I've noticed here. Here's a funny thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this. When Triple H comes out to the Kings of Kings music, you know, in his business suit music, everyone kind of boos him, right? Yep. You know what I mean? No one really likes him, and you know, he's showing things, people are laughing. But when he comes out to the game music and he's the game,
crowd pops. They're all about it.
So, and that just goes to show how smart wrestling fans are. They don't want, you know, obviously to see the King of Kings. They understand he's a bad guy, so they're gonna boo him. You know, but then you bring the game out, like shit, the Royal Rumble, whoo!
Oh,
him
yeah.
and AJ Styles got the 2 loudest pops of the night. And Sasha Banks.
And even the fact that the fans knew he was most likely going to win, they still popped for him.
Yeah, no, it was great, and they did it perfectly, though. Especially him eliminating Roman before Ambrose. That was perfect.
Yeah, because it set up kind of a question of like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it kind of puts. I mean, I guess like you could maybe there's a chance that Dean Ambrose could fuck Roman Reigns over at WrestleMania because they kind of opened up the door for one of them to turn on the other. How at Fastlane they had Dean Ambrose cracking Roman with the chair. And then they had the incident at the Royal Rumble where Roman was eliminated first. I hope they go somewhere with that. I hope they don't just kind of leave that sitting there. I hope they really, you know, take it forward with
Absolutely.
that. As far as what you were saying about the edgier content, what did you think of the F-bomb by Vince?
That was great.
I actually have a recording of it. I don't know. We'll see how clear it is. You can't really hear it that well.
I heard it.
You heard it?
He said, "Fuck you."
He said, "It's my last chance to give you a fucking beating."
Oh.
Yeah, the Trump.
that is honestly that's awesome. That it shows now that Vince is like, okay, let's get a little bit edgy. I mean, let's be honest. People don't want to. Your fans, yes, little kids watch the show. Great. Little kids don't have money. Their parents do.
What other little kid shows are on from 8 to 11 o'clock at night?
You know what I mean? Like, why promote to little kids? Yeah, it's great. If their parents let them stay up and watch it. Mine did, or they watch it behind their backs. Let's be honest. But
I don't mind if they have like child-centered characters that kids would like more than others, but they shouldn't be 100% their programming.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think they should. I think it should all be edgy. I think it all should be dope. Just because, that's where they're going to make the most money.
Should they go with the oversexed divas?
See, I don't think oversexed divas. I think they should have some good women's wrestling. Notice I said women's, not divas.
Yeah.
Good women's wrestling that are obviously good-looking girls, but can go, which they have right now.
So instead of parading girls around like horrors, you think they should actually like get them in there and showcase their talent, but just be a little bit more edgy?
Yeah, we don't need to have bra and panty matches and all that.
Yeah,
I loved them.
That was a 90s thing.
But we need to have, though, is people getting nuts, like people getting beat down, people, getting crazy with their promos, having it come right from the heart, wrestlers.
Like real life drama, like some real life bullshit, like "fuck you, bitch," like kind of like I don't know about boyfriend drama, but just like real like "fuck you, bitch" type mentality. Like I think Charlotte's actually doing pretty well at being a diva and like calling out some of the other wrestlers, and like how she said something about Brie Bella's goat-faced retarded babies or something along those lines.
Hey, honestly though, Charlotte, even though she kind of looks like a man, she is very, very good on the microphone.
Now, do you think it's her talking or that witch wart on her chin?
Oh, man. Well, here's what I think. I don't know if you're still that family. I think the witch wart actually talks to her and tells her what to say.
I see. So the witch wart's kind of like a, like her, like remember the Ninja Turtles cartoon? Remember the big guy and then the brain was in his stomach?
Exactly.
I'm blanking on the name.
It was Shredder was the other guy, and then it was I don't know, but I always beat him in Turtles in Time right before the last level.
Turtles in Time. So you're saying that the wart on Charlotte's chin is basically like the brain that gives her the ideas of what to say.
Absolutely. But here's the one problem with Trump, and I hate to say this because I love Ric Flair. Woo! Ric Flair's the man. When Charlie comes out, no one really pays attention to her. They're all watching what Rick does because Rick is still hilarious. Did you see the fall he took on Monday?
Yeah,
you could totally tell that wasn't even a fall. Like he totally just kind of sat down and rolled.
I actually don't even have a Ric Flair woo clip. I need to get a woo sound effect. I don't even have one.
See, I'm the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun.
Yeah, they shouldn't have edited out that kiss with him and Becky. They should have just let it go.
I just can't believe they did that.
Besides WWE, what else you feeling as far as wrestling goes? Because I was actually kind of thinking about it, and like nowadays is actually kind of a pretty cool time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, why don't you just have Roman Reigns turn heel, come out all the time, sneak up on people, beat the crap out of them with chairs and kendo sticks, and maybe not flick people off. I guess we are kind of past the Stone Cold, but have him come out and just be this total nasty heel. Almost like Kevin Owens. But
they should bring back some more blood, like show a little bit of blood, especially if it's like a hardcore match or a no DQ match or something like that.
Here's an idea. Why don't Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose have a tag match? And at the end of the match, kind of like what happened when Triple H turned on Ric Flair, just have Roman Reigns just beat the hell out of Dean Ambrose with make him bleed, just go crazy on turning on his brother.
They need to get Roman Reigns somewhere because the cookie cutter shit that they're trying to pull. Well, I can't really say that because I honestly said the same thing about John Cena in 2003, 2004. I personally wasn't a John Cena fan. I saw what they were doing. It wasn't that I didn't like John Cena because his character and his comedy was pretty funny and him on the mic and everything. What bothered me about John Cena is that I could see back then that he just clearly couldn't wrestle. He didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, but here's the difference between Roman Reigns and John Cena.
Stop touching the...
I'm sorry.
Technical difficulty. Oh.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties right now.
Okay, but now we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I was saying, here's the difference between Roman Reigns and John Cena. John Cena, from the end of 2003 to I'd say about around 2006. He was actually over though. Like he was getting cheered gnarly for 3 years. Like the Thugonomics. Like he was already over this crap, and then they just kind of went with him, and then just kind of went like a little bit of back and forth. The thing about Roman Reigns is that he hasn't been over yet. He hasn't, and they almost had it. They were right there with it, and they screwed it all up.
Yeah, they were right there. Yeah, the crowd was actually cheering. We're getting too much feedback. I think we're gonna have to be continued.
Are we good now?
Yeah, but it just keeps cutting. It's cutting really bad.
We need a new microphone, huh?
Yeah, we need to replace that mic. Yeah, because it's that mic that keeps shorting out. Sorry, guys. We're not gonna stop recording. We're still gonna upload this so you guys can see that we're a real show. You can talk. I mean.
Oh, am I good?
Oh yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just try not to move around right now. We only got about 5 minutes of the show left.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, okay. Well, let's jump right into the last thing that we were going to talk about. Why don't we talk about Stone Cold?
All right, what do you got?
What I got is Stone Cold. We all know he's going to be at WrestleMania. Nobody has a clue what the hell he's doing. Stone Cold even said on his podcast, he's like, "Look, when I go out there, people don't want to see me come out there and say 4 words. People want to see me come out there, cut a damn promo with a reason why I'm pissed off about something, and just go crazy."
Yeah, throw a stunner maybe.
Yeah,
can Stone Cold still throw stunners?
He can still throw a stunner.
Yeah.
For sure he could.
You don't think that'll fuck his neck up?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I think we should see at least one stunner.
Yeah. Stone Cold could still do stunners. He was doing stunners after he was already retired.
What about, do you think they could throw him in as like a special guest ref?
That could be a good, maybe throw him into the Undertaker match, or maybe throw him in the Roman Reigns match.
Yeah. I could probably see him doing maybe the Undertaker. Oh, let's see here. Because I don't think they'd put him in Triple H and Roman Reigns, because I think that they're really trying. They want the crowd focused on Roman. So I think that putting Austin in there would obviously focus the crowd on him. So I think it would be probably more like him in the Hell in a Cell.
Here's the thing though. I respectfully have to disagree. I'll tell you why. I think that they need to find some way to let him into the Triple H Roman Reigns match, because are they prepared for the amount of booing that they're going to get when Roman Reigns wins that title?
Obviously not. I mean, or else they wouldn't be putting him in this situation.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
The Rock can't save him.
We've seen they tried that when they sent it. That was a last minute thing too. When Roman was getting booed for the Rumble, they straight up told The Rock they'll run out there, they'll go out there.
Yeah, and they'll cheer for The Rock, but as soon as he raised Roman Reigns, boo,
and pointed at Roman Reigns, they're like boo, and you can even see
The Rock was like, "What the?
What are you guys doing?" And honestly, it's nothing against Roman Reigns personally. I don't know the guy personally.
They just don't know how to do his character, man. Let the guy be a heel. Everyone has.
I don't want shit shoved down my throat.
Think about every great wrestler. Every great wrestler before they became a fan favorite was a heel. Hulk Hogan was a heel.
Yep.
Okay. John Cena was a heel.
Yep.
Triple H was a heel.
Yep.
Undertaker was a heel.
Bret Hart, the Hart Foundation were heels.
Hart Foundation.
Shawn Michaels was a heel.
Shawn Michaels was a great heel.
Undertaker was a heel.
Everyone. Every single great wrestler has to be a great heel before they can become a great face.
Because you're not just going to pop in and people are going to like you. What it is it's usually they bring them in, people hate them, and then they start showing enough of their real life persona or enough of a solid character that the crowd goes, "Oh, I can relate to that guy."
Yeah, like Kevin Owens. He's going to be one of the most over people ever once he turns face.
Yeah. Because the crowd already they like what he's doing as far as bringing the solid heel back to wrestling.
Lesnar, heel.
Yeah.
He was a face. And now it's like you can't even make the guy a heel because everybody just wants to cheer him. Like that's why it's stupid to have him fight Dean Ambrose, because who wants to boo Brock Lesnar? He's the man.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious how they're going to do that, because I guess they could have Dean go over clean.
No, here's you want to know what I think is going to happen?
Give it to me.
I think it's going to be a great, solid match. Dean Ambrose won't give up. It's going to be nuts, crazy. Brock Lesnar's going to win, but at the end of the match, he's going to pick Dean up and he's going to slap him on the chest and then walk away.
So give Dean like a "you did it, buddy" kind of a thing.
Like you gave me the fight of my fucking life, and I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm holding out because I've seen Dean Ambrose in CZW, and he can go. He can get bloody. He can get crazy.
Oh yeah.
So
I think it's a perfect match for him. Street fight. Definitely wouldn't have him in a normal match.
Yeah, no, because they can then open up the barriers, and they don't have to sit in there and wrestle and stay within a certain environment.
Oh, can I just say one thing completely off topic that I just wanted to mention? I just want to say one thing.
Yeah.
I think the League of Nations and the New Day thing is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. I hate the League of Nations. They should just cut it now before. That's my one pissed off thing this week.
As far as the that counts for all 10 of them,
That's
or all
10.
5 of them. Yeah,
it's terrible.
The League of Nations are the dead in the water.
They ruined that whole thing at Fastlane. It was, oh my god, it was so hard to watch.
Yeah, and then with everyone knowing that Barrett's on his way out, it's like, I mean, that's not like anybody cares, but it's, I mean, the League of Nations is just, you got like the most boring. Actually, I like Rusev, so I'm not going to say that Rusev's boring, because I actually think he's kind of cool. But Alberto Del Rio, man, I mean, that dude is just the most boring taco slanging wrestler I've ever seen. And then Sheamus, I don't mind Sheamus, but again, it's just boring. It's kind of the same thing with Randy Orton. Like, I always kind of liked Randy Orton, but kind of boring.
Yeah, he's been around. I mean, I still like Randy Orton. What's funny about Alberto Del Rio, when in the right situations, he's actually a good wrestler. He can actually go.
Yeah, I've seen him in Lucha Underground, AAA.
He's been around too long now. It's just like, same thing with Sheamus. It's like, like only certain wrestlers can be around more than like 5 years and then still be over. Like Batista. Batista was over as shit, and then he left and he came back and it was like,
Well, with Del Rio, he can only be a cliche Mexican for so long before they need to make him something else. They need to grow the character.
Are you saying they should spray paint him white and turn him white?
They could have him wrestle in blackface.
That's a great idea.
I mean, they get some
like Roddy Piper.
Get some controversy.
WrestleMania 6.
Yeah, against Bad News. Bad News
Brown.
The original Bad News.
The original. By the way, rest in peace, Roddy Piper. We miss you every freaking day. You were the fucking man.
Yeah, he actually did an interview where they were talking about wrestlers like expiring early, and he even admitted on the interview he's on I guess the pension for the wrestlers kicks in when they're like 65 or 68 or something like that. And he even said in an interview, just I think a couple years ago, that he's like, I'm not going to make it to that age.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And he was just on the the show on the network, and up until a few weeks before he passed away, he was actually doing a podcast. Just about every week. You guys can actually catch up on those on the iTunes.
Yeah, he actually caught heat, or was it him that caught heat because of the Stone Cold phone call?
Yeah, some guy with the Stone Cold thing. He actually had a good interview with Ronda Rousey. Who we feel very, very upset for right now. She's had thoughts of suicide, when she lost the fight. Grow the fuck up. You lost the fight. Go get your ass back in there and win back your belt.
Or blow your brains out, bitch.
Yeah, come on.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? I mean...
Hey, Anderson Silva's fighting tonight.
Oh, he is?
He is. He's fighting on, I think...
By the way, we record on Saturday. We upload on Monday. So we're talking about Saturday.
Yeah, but who cares, though? Just listen to us. We're entertaining. Who cares if it already happened? Listen to us. We're entertaining. That's what matters, right?
We're entertaining.
Yep. Podcast entertainment.
So we about up.
Yeah, I think that wraps up the show. I want to thank everyone for listening. Rotten Ronnie here will tell you how to find us, where to look for us. Thank you for tuning in this week. We hope to grow the show. Please send all of your comments on Twitter to our emails. And, that's all for me. Thank you all for listening. Take it away, Ronnie. Yeah,
this is only our 5th week, so we're growing. We're getting followers. We're getting some comments. We're getting some emails. I actually had some emails to get to, but we ran out of time today, so I'm going to get to those maybe next week. We'll do your Twitter interactions. You hit us up. We'll drop your name. Follow us. If you call into the TAZ show and mention Escape the Cage and maybe tell TAZ to fuck off, you'll get a free DVD out of us. We just need to hear the audio, and we need to hear that it was legit. As far as finding us, hit us up, email, escapethecagepodcast@gmail.com. The main way to hit us up would probably be on Twitter, @escapethecage31. You can direct message us. You can hit us up. We'll reply. You can tell us we suck. You can tell us we're awesome. We don't really care. Because, there's a million wrestling podcasts, and, throughout the weeks, we're going to give you the reason why we're the best one to listen to. I think we got the best sound. I think we're going to get a solid show together. And thank you guys. So this is Rotten Ronnie with the MADD.
Mad Matt.
And we'll see you next week, guys. Have a good weekend and get ready for Raw.